All right, welcome everybody once again. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for sharing your time. Thank you for giving me minutes, and thank you for being here, and thank you for trying to learn something new. Now, let's get started. So last week we learned about some of the modeling tools, right? So far we looked into the different modes, into the different shortcuts. Remember, select tool is Q, move tool is W, rotate is E, and R is to scale. We also learn our modes. FA will be an object mode, F9 is going to be a vertex mode, F10 is going to be an H mode, F11 our face mode. We also have so far seen our tools of extrude, separate and combine. We also done separate and combine, extrude, and mirror. Those were the first ones, the only ones we've seen so far. So let's continue. We also learned how to make a shelf, which is really cool. I'll link the previous video at the end of this video, so anybody who missed it should be able to go back and learn. So I'm gonna try to keep this one shorter than 30 minutes, see if that's possible. But let's get started. All right, so last week I talked about something about not liking the top of the cylinders because they all come into a point. I've said that about the sphere too. The sphere, you'll see it right now. I'm gonna create one. You can be so happy there's a sphere, but it comes to a point, and that's nasty because I feel like you're confined to that point. You wanna keep everything in quads or squares, right? So whenever I'm starting a object, I'm using the cylinder to start modeling. I will go to my object mode. I go to the channel box layer editor right here. I go to the poly cylinder 1. So this inputs right here. You want to do this at the very beginning. It messes up the object, or if you do it after you start manipulating this. So if you change vertices or faces and you start modeling and you go, oh man, I forgot to fix this top up here, and if you want to go and do it, it'll mess everything up. So if you know you're gonna work with a cylinder, go ahead and do this at the very beginning before you change the shape of the cylinder. So we'll go here, we come to inputs, we click on the poly cylinder 1, we go to subdivision caps. You can change it by just typing number 2. You can highlight it and middle mouse click, change it, and drag. To the left is to subtract, to the right is to add more. So let's add only one. That's all I need. It'll add it to the top and the bottom. Then I will go right click and go to my H mode. I will select, and this is awesome. If you come to the top, you see your grid, see the main lines of the grid. If you keep it the way it is right now, you didn't add any more geometry. You can really follow the line and just select the ones around it, right? Select all of them. Now you can hit delete, and that will be fine, and it'll delete everything. It is really good to get used to just deleting in a different way. You wanna press and hold Control Delete. Why do you do that? Because when you're deleting edges, it doesn't necessarily delete the vertices, right? So in this case, if I just were to press delete, I don't have a problem because these vertices need to stay where they are to hold the other edges, right? But if I'm working on a project and I don't need an edge or edges, and I don't need the vertex either. If I hit delete only, that might leave a vertex behind, and we don't want that. Let me see if I can show it to you. So let's go ahead, press and hold shift, and let's go to the multicut and right click the multicut. Let's see if that I can show you. Let's see. See that? See how he left all those two vertex right there? I don't need those, and in fact, it creates issues in my model, because now instead of having only 4 vertex, I have 6 that don't connect anywhere. But if you do it, if you delete it by pressing and holding Control Delete, it deletes the thing. Make sense? All right, let's go ahead and do it. All right, let's select all the edges around it. So yeah, we're looking to leave a cross there. Why am I doing this again? Is because to keep everything in quads or squares or 4 vertexes or even faces, however you want to call it, and that will give you a better and cleaner results at the end. Can you do it without doing that? Of course you can. Let's go ahead and select our multicut tool. This is very useful. I talked about it last week too. So we're gonna go here. I'm gonna connect these 2 vertex. We're gonna hit enter every time we come to an end. We finish the connection, and then it'll finish the connection and it'll reset the tool so you can use it again. And then we're gonna do this and this, and one more down here. So this is keeping everything in quads and 4 vertex everywhere. So if you know you're gonna do this, if you know you're gonna use a cylinder, so you also wanna, make sure you start with the right number geometry. Make sure that you're actually gonna need the top. Sometimes you don't need it. So if you don't need it, you will select all the faces and you delete it. Yeah, so you will do that. And let me show you something really quick. This is for beginners again. Anybody out there being like, oh man, this is so slow. It's slow. It's for beginners. Let's go back to our beginning here before we put that edge in the top. So this right here, the subdivisions, I use them. We already saw this one, of course. I would do 2 always. If I know I'm gonna need to manipulate the top somehow, I might do 3, just so I have another edge to play around. I can always delete it later if I don't need it. I usually will combine 2, and I like to use the cross, like I said, and the grid to add more geometry in the axis. So that's gonna give you more geometry, not just really follow the grid, right? When I keep all this square right here, I can still delete the ones in the middle and do the same connection, right? We are 28, looking good. We are going to go to edge mode, boom, 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 and just select all of this right here. And see, basically the same thing as we saw before. We're just gonna connect. We just have more geometry than we did before. It should still work the same way. You should still be able to have quads. It's a very powerful tool. It really is. To be able to do all this, just gotta be a little more careful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I think we're gonna do one more here and one more here, and everything should look good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, just more geometry, the same result. All right, and I did this at the bottom as well. I just didn't show it because, trying to keep this short, and I had already shown you before. Okay, anyways. Yeah, so like I was saying, we looked at the bridge tool last week. Super powerful. Alrighty, so let's see what else we can teach you today. I'm just gonna start modeling something, nothing really. Oh, and the key Z is for to undo. And my plan after this video is to be able to start our first project with the tools that we've gone over so far. Remember, one powerful, very powerful tool. I bring this menu by pressing the space bar right here and holding it, right? And again, my modeling tools. If you don't see that, if you see something else like let's see, this, and you're like, oh, this is too much, press and hold space, hotbox controls, show modeling, modeling only. And then when you do it again, it's going to be all your modeling options. That's it. Also, but if you just press the space bar, you get your top view, you get your front view, and you get your side view. We're gonna see this more in use when we get started with our project. And I think it's gonna be just an object, just a prop. A lot of schools and teachers do like to teach modeling starting with a car. That's pretty cool. But we're gonna do an object because we're looking into also storytelling. So we're gonna do a whole project. We're gonna tell a story with that project. It's gonna be cool. Okay, powerful tool, mesh. I always remember, almost forget where extrude is. Edit mesh, extrude or Control E, right? So what we're looking for here, I don't know, making something, I guess. Nothing too special. I think I might have selected some faces that I didn't want to, and I think that'll do it. Control E. Yeah, you can see it's a very powerful. Anyways, just so we have a very a better visual or this, and then to repeat the tool that you've done before, remember it's G. All right, perfect. Anyways, next tools that I want to go over real quick. We did combine with this separate fill hole. It'll come handy in some occasions, and like its name say, it'll fill a hole. That's very simple. Let's make a hole. We'll select the edges of that hole. We're gonna press and hold spacebar. We're gonna go to mesh, and we're gonna fill the hole. Super useful. You don't have to create new geometry, or you don't have to like select one edge, go to move tool, then have to extrude it, and then figure it out, and then have to. Oh well, now is a chance to show you another tool. So you don't have to go ahead and do this, and have to go ahead and right click and go to vertex mode, select the two vertex, press and hold space, edit mesh, and go to merge. Merge. I usually use this when I'm connecting vertices. Honestly, that's one of the times that I see myself doing it is when I merge vertices. You know, sometimes you're going to be modeling objects, just half of an object, because that's the fastest way to model. Because remember, I'm going to show you to your front view, right? Right in the middle. A lot of your modeling, especially on big items, would be, or big objects or big characters, whatever. You're only going to be modeling half of it. You're going to delete the other half. And when you're done modeling all these like symmetrical shapes and the things that basically are gonna be the same on the other side, you're gonna mirror this to the left. It's gonna show up here, and then you may need to manually combine or merge those vertices. Yeah. Anyways, so where were we? Yeah. So fill hole, make a hole. You have a hole. There's gonna be times that it's not going to work perfect, so you may have to do extrude one side, and in the middle you can even bridge it. Let's see if we can bridge it. Let's see. Remember Maya, there's a bunch of ways to do one thing, and they all there's not one that is wrong, there's not one that is right, it's just the way it is, right? So that's fill hole, that is merge. Let's see what else you can see. Reduce, remesh, this whole thing, we're gonna see it later. Retopologize. This is these are very powerful tools, especially if you working with high dense models. Let's say if you don't know what ZBrush is a digital modeling, a sculpting tool where you can do amazing characters, you can do amazing modeling, and those are high poly models. Very high. We're talking about thousands, millions of polygons. And if when you bring those into Maya, you wanna reduce the mesh, reduce the poly to be actually able to use it on a console or be able to be using a production, you'll be using these two items right here. Smooth, as the name says, smooth things out, right? It looks ugly, right? Because you don't just smooth something just like that. Basically, if this was a gear or a piece of metal, I would be adding edges, supporting edges all around my corners, all around. Why would I do that, you will ask? So when I smooth those supporting edges, you see here the difference? It holds the shape. Not only holds the shape because it's metal, because I'm thinking this is a gear and it's metal, it actually will look like a metal piece, right? Kind of not smooth on the edges, kind of hard. And then you can then start adding, because you hold those edges, you can add after in ZBrush or in Substance Painter. Well, in ZBrush you will actually sculpt wear and tear on the edges. On Substance Painter you can do the same, but it's more working with textures, right? All right, let's keep going down. So smooth is powerful. Don't smooth just to smooth. Make sure you have supporting edges where you need them. Make sure your geometry is well distributed. You don't want to just have a bunch of edges and geometry that's not doing anything. Like for example, if I were to do, this was actually a model that I was working on, I would probably, let's get back to it. Probably just go to my insert H2, right? I will leave it to 2. It's usually set up for 1. Why 2? Because I will make 2 here, and I will scale and move. So as you can see so far, when the move, scale, and rotate don't only work for the entire object, but also works to move edges around, vertices around. So I'm using the scale tool right now. And in some terms, I'm scaling this out, right? If you think about it. Anyway, so I would do this because I know I'm gonna have supporting edges right there. Perfect. Then I will open that tool again in the option box right here on the side and reset it to 1. And I will probably do, probably do 1 here and 1 here, 2. That's all I think I would need. Of course, it's not holding the shape because I will need to do more here. Let's see. Here. 1 and 1. See, a lot better, right? Supporting the edges and not going crazy with the geometry, and because that's what you want. If you just add in geometry for nothing, it'll cost you, it'll cost your company, it'll cost your client. Yes, we are working with, sometimes we work with high dense, high poly models. That doesn't mean we're just gonna waste our geometry. Just gonna start putting all this crazy geometry everywhere. We're not gonna do that. So see? Looks pretty nice, right? And it's pretty clean, not a lot of geometry. All right, anyways, so the way, real quick, so the way you get out of this tool, the insert edge loop, is by clicking the Q, by pressing Q key, which is a select key, so it'll go back to it. All right, so we saw those. Triangulate and quadrangulate, I don't use them. Should go over them, but I think you can do a lot of this yourself. Triangulate, I've seen some friends when I was in school, and they were taking a modeling class with me. I was an animation major, they were a game major, so they wanted to, you know, work on triangles, right? Because that's what really optimizes game engines. It's not so much right now, so this is what it does. It breaks everything into triangles, but honestly it's usually cleaner if you do it by hand. A lot of friends doing a combination of both, doing it using this tool. I'm talking about, you know, all versions of Maya, they all get better. But also, I mean, PS5 right now is a powerful console. You don't need to triangulate very much these days, but if you need it, it's there. I would advise to do a combination of both, automatically and by hand. So it's good. Quadrate is, yeah, making shapes or faces that are not square or quads into quads, if that makes sense. All right, and the mirror, you know, I will use this when we start the project. So basically you mirror one side to the other, especially if you're working on an object that's the same, it looks the same way on the other side. You don't need to model twice, right? You just do it on one side and then you mirror it, and boom. All right, edit mesh, the bevels. All right, this is a good one. All right, so we're gonna stop here. This video was originally going to be over 40 minutes, but I'm gonna split it into two so it's a little more digestible. So we'll stop here and we'll continue in the next video. I'm gonna post both videos on the same day, so you can jump from one to the other, or, you know, if you need a break, just come back tomorrow.